Okay, so now we're going to go through another very useful and common shortcut that you use most frequently when you're working with data sets, and that is how to sort the data based on different criteria. If you look through the set of data that's here right now, you see that there isn't really a logical order to anything. And if you think about how we might sort it in alphabetical order, we might sort it by industry, by revenue, if we actually calculated the revenue for each of these customers. So there are a number of different orders we could sort it in, but as you can see right now, it doesn't really make any sense. And just quickly glancing at this, we couldn't really tell too much from this set of data. And frequently when you're working on due diligence and you're looking at these types of data sets and any information sent over by a client, it'll be just like this. It'll be completely unsorted and chaotic and it won't make any sense. And sorting the data will allow you to make more sense of it and to draw conclusions more quickly and come up with summaries to tell the rest of your team. And you don't use sorting that much when you're working with actual Excel models. It's far more common with data sets, but it could be used there too, depending on what you're doing. But for now, we're going to focus on the data set side. And so what we do to sort data is we select the whole area that we want to sort. And again, I recommend actually selecting literally the entire row, so pressing Shift Spacebar, and then Control, and then the down arrow key to select this whole area. The reason is that once again, as I mentioned before in the videos when we were going over the basic navigation shortcuts in Excel, you want to avoid only selecting some cells. You want to be trying to select entire rows or entire columns when you're moving things around. The reason being that if we were to sort this data and we only picked, say, this area, what would happen is if we had other formulas or other things over here to the left here, these would stay the same, but everything here would shift around. And it wouldn't be catastrophic here because this is just data. It's not really formulas or models or anything. If we're actually working with an Excel model, everything would completely shift around and it wouldn't make any sense anymore. So just be careful whenever you're sorting data to make sure that you have entire rows selected, especially when it's a data set like this, because when you have formulas included, there's a big potential to mess things up and to have your model not work correctly anymore. So just be careful to select entire rows. So we'll do that and press Shift Spacebar, then Control and the down arrow key. And then the shortcut to sort data is Alt DS. And this works in both Excel 2003 and Excel 2007. The difference is that in Excel 2003, the interface is actually much better than what just popped up on my screen. This is in Excel 2007. In 2003, it's actually much better and more intuitive, and you can do it in fewer keystrokes. It looks somewhat similar to this, but rather than me having to tab over, like I'm doing right now, pressing tab all the way to get to this column and then sort by, sort on, and then the order, all that stuff appears right away and by default you go into the first column that appears there. So the interface is actually much simpler to use. I'm not going to do a separate screencast for the Excel 2003 version because it is similar to this and it's actually easier to figure out. So here we see we have a couple different options for the sort by, and we can do customer name, industry, number of employees, product price, and we can just hit the shortcut keys. We can just hit the first letter of each of these to skip to them very quickly. So P for these product ones, O for order, A for address, P again for phone number, and that just helps us move around very quickly. So we'll sort by number of employees. We'll sort it based on values. We see there's also the cell color, font color, cell icon. Those are all kind of useless. Values is what we care about in 99% of all cases. And then the order will be, we'll actually change this from largest to smallest, and then we'll press enter. Okay, and now we see that this is completely sorted, and as we might expect, since each company, each customer has the same number of employees, they're now separated like that. So we can roughly look at this and tell who our biggest customers are, about how many employees they have, and maybe the average number of employees based on this. And again, in Excel 2003, the interface is actually simpler and much better to use. I actually think the 2007 one is very frustrating, but that's what's installed on my computer, so I'm just showing that one. The 2003 one, if you're using Excel 2003, you'll actually be able to figure out much more easily, and you can do it in fewer keystrokes as well. Now, sorting by number of employees doesn't really make a whole lot of sense in this context, so for your exercise, I want you to actually sort this using criteria that makes more sense. So I'll press Control Z to undo this right now. And what I want you to do is sort it by customer name for your first set of criteria. and then product price for your second set of criteria. So these two columns are what you should be sorting it by. Customer name first, and then product price second. This is basically going to let us see the different customers broken out alphabetically and then by how much they paid in each individual order. So I'll do it in Excel right now and then pause the video and then I'll go through it again and give you the shortcuts this time. So I'll go through and do this first. And for the product price, we want to start from largest to smallest. Okay, so we see that as we'd expect, it starts with Buster's because that's first alphabetically, then Cindy's and proceeds all the way down. And then we see that it's sorted by product price as well. So give that a shot right now. Pause this video and then try to do this yourself using the Alt-DS key for sort and then sort it by customer name first and then product price second. So pause this video, give that a shot. Then once you figure it out, or if you get stuck, just unpause this, and then this time I'll walk you through it, and I'll give you all the shortcut keys I'm using along the way. Okay, good. So now I'm just going to undo what I've done here with Control Z, and now we will go through and sort it, and I'll give you the shortcut keys this time. So first off, we press Shift Space to highlight the first row, press Control down arrow key to get to the bottom, and then we press Alt DS to get to sort. So here we can press tab a few times to get to sort by, and we select customer name first, and this is all with the down arrow key, by the way. We just press the down arrow key once we get there with tab. We keep the sort on values, and we keep the order A to Z. To sort by the second criteria, I just press Alt A to go to add level. And by the way, in Excel 2003, this is much easier because you just go down and press tab, and rather than having to add another level, by default you get 3 levels that you can sort on, so it's actually much easier. So you would just press tab if you're using Excel 2003 and go down to that one. But for now, I will press Alt A to add a level, then I will press tab to get to then by, and then I'll press the down arrow key to get down to product price, or I can press just P and get down there more quickly. And then I'll press tab once more to get to sort on, then press tab again and press the down arrow key to go to largest to smallest. Then I will press enter. Okay, now we see that it is sorted according to the criteria that I just laid out. So that is how you manipulate data in Excel. And what we just went through in these 10 or so videos covers the basics of how to insert, delete, edit rows, columns, cells, worksheets, workbooks, and then how to sort data, how to jump around by naming cells and jumping to them. There are more advanced topics within those, and we'll get to those at the end of this course when we start getting to some of the more advanced material. But everything we just went through covers the 90%, maybe 95 or 99% of the shortcuts that you're going to be using most of the time when you're just dealing with manipulating data and navigating with Excel. After this, we're going to be getting into formatting, and then we'll go into formulas. And then once we go through all those, we'll start getting into more of the advanced topics at the end.